Hello, folks. Welcome. It's another Friday. Welcome to Journalist Hangout, where we say it as it is. As a matter of fact, we help mold opinion, allow you make up your mind. Well, I'm Citizen Jones, and today on the program, PDP sets up committee to resolve internal crisis, just as former Vice President Atiku opposes removal of Uche Secondus. Now, APC governors insist on Buni-led caretaker committee as human rights lawyer Kayode Ajolo says party is playing with ogbono soup. Did you hear that? And later on, we'll share this with you. Resident doctors give conditions to call up the strike. The conditions, I dare say, is like same difference. Well, I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, it's a Friday. Yes. Rain no fall in this part of town, so
and it's raining okay. Everywhere. Yes.
Now you hear say they rain everywhere.
What do we do for Lagos?
Is it about
the north is battling with flooding.
Whew.
Some roads have been cut into two because of excessive rains. What?
Mixed blessings.
Not, yeah, but we still have to thank God. All the same.
They say that nature and water will always find its level.
Yes, yes.
Tony Waje, a gentleman from Delta State is here. I greet you,
Good
Tony.
evening, citizens.
Good to see you.
Good evening, Nigeria.
All right. Rain or no rain, the show is ready. So the team is ready. I hope you are. All right, to our first story. You know, Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is also yoking under an internal crisis, which has provoked a wave of major dumping of the party, at least as at news time. But the Board of Trustees, the BOT, former President of the Senate, David Mark, governors, and critical stakeholders have met to resolve outstanding issues with a view to burying the hatchet. The suspicion is that 2023 political calculations are the underlying reasons for the feud. Now, a growing fear that PDP governors were shopping for party chairman Uche Secondus' replacement ahead of his second-term bid was on the card too. But former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is not disposed to unseating of the Rivers State-born PDP chairman. Meanwhile, let's share the outcome of the BOT meeting with you. Just watch this for a while.
It was a very, very peaceful, cordial meeting. And we resolved in the meeting to set up a committee that will look at the situation. A committee made up of governors, of members of the BOT, members of the National Assembly, all the members of the National Working Committee, former governors, former ministers, so that they can holistically look at the problems within PDP.
What transpired at our meeting is the fact that we all came together and addressed that there's some issues too, and there's urgency on the matter. We've agreed that we'll set up this committee urgently, and within the next 48 to 72 hours they will meet, and at the end of that meeting, the country will see the direction which the party is going. The commitment of everybody to attend that meeting and agree to subject themselves to the decision of that meeting shows the interest of everybody. And the presence of all of us here is because of that meeting. This meeting today was important.
Well, in politics, anything is possible. But just before then, Jide, the news hit me. An old boy of my school, if you like. Now, former chairman of the Nigerian Football Association, Brigadier Dominic Oneya, a proud son of Delta, passed.
Dominic Obukadata Oneya.
Wow.
Former military administrator of Kano. At the time I was in Kano, he was the military administrator, a gentleman par excellence.
Yeah.
And he tried his best. He was the one who nicknamed Kano the center of excellence. It was during his time. That which you see written on the number plates of Kano vehicles, the center motto of commerce. It was during his time that Kano was so named. It will be missed. It will be
Tony,
sorely
that's
missed.
-1.
He has done his beat, and his time has come, because the world is a journey. It's a marketplace.
Yeah, when they say good men,
legacies matters a lot.
when they say good men, not the last, you know, so they think of myself.
The time,
He died at the age of 73.
when it's not time, it's not time.
No, that's
73, and
73.
you know he fought during the Liberian War.
okay.
During the Comoc days.
Yeah.
He was a commander in Liberia, and he did his best. He did his best.
Well, safe to say that we only live once, and if you live that once very well, Tony and Jide, that once is enough. Just leave a mark.
It's a legacy that matters. Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to raise more passion. Sorry, good night, Brigadier Dominic Onaya. Okay, Jide, let's go to our first story. You know, sometimes you ask if it is the same God that created Nigerian politicians in his own likeness for a purpose and to perform a purpose.
You see, the Nigerian politician, especially Nigerian governors, appear to share the same corporate anointing. Because once you become a governor, so many things change. If you are very selfless, then you start thinking nearly all the time about yourself, just yourself. You know?
Me, myself, and I.
Yes. Me and I. You know one ABBA song, Me and I.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Me and I,
Yes,
yeah.
we were talking about the Jekyll and Hyde, the Sigmund Freud hypothesis. Me and I, you know, back in the 80s. So I wasn't surprised when the APC governors came together and said, look, we have absolute faith in the caretaker committee, and we believe that the work of the caretaker committee should continue. I think that May Malabuni has done...
No, are we talking the PDP story now?
Oh.
That's the next story. In any case,
talking about governors.
They say the difference is the same.
Yes, because you were talking about governors, and that is the matter related to governors.
Yeah.
Okay. PDP, for the better part of this week, we've been grappling with the crisis in the PDP. And this whole crisis has a lot to do with 2023, just as the problem in the APC has so much to do with 2023. Now, it is clear that ahead of the termination of Secondo's first term,
that's in December.
in 4 months, some people are making moves to ensure that not only does he exit that position before that time, that he does not even get to preside over the transition to a new leadership.
It begs the question of, so how dangerous or otherwise will Secondus be if he's still there? Maybe I'm not saying what they're saying.
That is a question that they are best positioned to answer. But I would expect that with just 4 months, time is a gentleman. 4 months is not such a long time. With just 4 months, why don't you wait for the convention to come, put your house in order, perfect your strategies, and simply kick him out of the place? But Secondus is minded to believe now that there is some level of desperation to get him out of the picture, and then put in his place a caretaker chairman or something like that. So, and that is the point that he has been making, that there is a Father Christmas, there is a man with deep pockets who has been making moves to ensure that he is humiliated out of office. You know, that is
the calculation.
Yes. Now we are hearing that people like Atiku, former vice president, are saying no.
Damn it.
Let Secondus remain. So the battle, of course, will be tough. The PDP had a history of kicking their chairman out of office right from the Obasanjo days. The zero tolerance for national chairman. But at that time, they were getting away with it because they were the ruling party. Once you are not the ruling party, you need the support of all the members of your party, everybody that you can find, to unseat the ruling party.
Yeah.
If you keep pulling in different directions, there's no way you are going to succeed in unseating the ruling party. And that's why you see that the man that was chosen to bring the PDP warring groups together, that's Saraki, I said, look, we need to call a stakeholders meeting where all these outstanding issues will be addressed. Everyone feels now that this is necessary. So if they are able to bring all those governors, their BOT members, bring everyone under the same roof, hopefully.
But you know, when former Senate President David Mark tells you, oh, it went well, they say when people leave a meeting and they are smiling,
that means the meeting didn't go well.
I don't know.
I've seen people that they even entered the same vehicle, they drove around town. Meanwhile, what transpired at that meeting is better not said here.
Boy.
So sometimes they just do these things to try to impress us.
Yeah.
You know?
Tony, you know, sometimes an expert said there are 3 ways to kill a king. One, hit him, you know, use the force of the military, hit him out. Number 2, stab him in the back like a coward. And number 3, kill him softly like a politician. Have you heard anything like that? Very intriguing.
Exactly.
This game called politics in Nigeria.
In politics, a lot of people get killed by being stabbed at the back.
Oh, yeah.
It's the way of the politician.
The Nigerian politics.
And to think, Tony, that the Rivers State governor who was instrumental in the coming of Secondus, he started to be the man to be
exit.
It boggles the mind.
Yeah, it tells you that, just like Jesus said, 2023
is a play.
Yeah, that's just the reason why. Because Secondus didn't start, they said, internal crisis, you know, because of his failure to, you know, to ensure that the crisis within the party is resolved. It's been looking the other way. He didn't start today. It's been like that for a long time. That's why you have defection from NAS, from across the states. The states ESCOs are not doing well. Crisis everywhere. Why now? Because the election is approaching. So some people want to take control of the party, not waiting for 4 months to elapse so that they can conduct a fresh convention that will usher in new management for the party. So some people want to play. It's simple. And then for Wike to show yesterday at the BOT meeting tells you that there's something, you know, it came from nowhere. You know, we were not expecting him. I learned they were shocked. So it tells you that there's more. And it has not ended. That we're seeing David Mark telling us everything.
Have you heard something
I doubt it.
Have you heard something like a Tambuwal Wike ticket?
Yeah, of course. It happened in the last election, almost.
Like a kite? They're flying a kite?
It's obvious. It's obvious because White Tambuwal is on the other side. Atiku is on the other side too. I can see, and it's not really about. It's because election is coming.
Not about the people.
It's not about the people. We're talking about the opposition party. We're suddenly hearing about PDP today because election is approaching. Yesterday, day before, what were they? Nothing. It's an opposition party. Provide formidable opposition. You're not doing it. And you're coming out with crisis because everybody wants something. Everybody wants a particular interest.
You know, it's not out of place to bring in Professor Jega, who said about 2-3 days ago, don't vote APC, don't vote PDP in 2023. But he has elected to join forces with the PRP.
Yes.
So that's also politics.
He's trying to market his own party. He's trying to market his own party. Many people think that we actually need a third force to get this
We never get
these
undefeated.
parties
I think we need
to be
it.
more serious.
Yeah.
Because they take Nigerians for granted. In some cases, they don't even feel any need to campaign because they know that whatever happens, they will win. The choices of the Nigerian people
Doesn't matter.
are narrow when it comes to what parties to vote for. So many people think that, oh, we actually need a third force. But the third force doesn't last. On the eve of an election, you see some parties, you know, appearing like the third force, the SDPs of this world, providing for them, but for people, the platform to contest. Especially people who lose primary elections in the APC or PDP. But at the end of the election,
Usually disgruntled politicians.
PRP, for example, won some seats at state level and even at federal level, House of Rep seats in the north.
In the Second Republic.
No,
In the current republic.
yes,
right?
yes, in the north, especially Bauchi, you know, they won some seats.
I'm sure most of them are defected.
What have we seen? The party has not been able to build on that. People like Shehu Sani, they joined the PRP, contested on the platform of PRP. We saw some politicians too from Kano contesting on the platform of PRP. But after the election, what steps do they make to build the party?
Yeah.
And make it an alternative to these two domineering parties? Nothing really happens. It means that the so-called noise about third force is just what some people see as a vehicle to achieve, to achieve their political aims. So, and afterwards, when if they succeed, fine. If they don't even succeed,
bootlegging also takes place in politics.
Of course, of course. But the PDP knows that if it continues in this manner, and if their leaders do not rein in their greed for power, they will not be able to unseat the PDP.
Yeah.
Governor Wike will buy airtime on TV, saying all kinds of things about the APC, telling us how terrible the APC is. But if on his own, he is doing things that undermine his party, things that do not make his party stronger, and members of his party are defecting, is powerless to stop the defections. How does he hope to unseat the APC?
But let me take Evans. He's in Abuja. He has joined us. Good evening, Evans.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. Go on.
So, I should go on.
Yeah, you're on air.
Yes, my contribution is purely on this recent movement of PDP reaction, appeal PDP trying to return to ambitious return to power from 2023. It's a great concern to many Nigerians because the way APC is handling the affairs of the nation is probably things to them have come to a position where nobody is based on their capacity, their authority, where they are trying to follow everyone.
Okay. The line to you is a little naughty, but Evans, we thank you very kindly. I remember you just said 2023. We are all agreed about that. Tony, just before we take it home, this is a so-called Fourth Republic. In the Second Republic, Tony, you remember, Tony and Jide, you remember that a party national chairman was in charge. At the state level, a party chairman in charge. So what changed and how did the change start?
But that was when party chairmen are respected because of the nature of the election. You were not selected. State governors were not instrumental to the appointment or election of party chairman. But right now, a lot of factors, are in place. Governors forum are interested. The presidency is interested. I mean, so where do you think? Of course, the chairman will we are aligned with the forces that made that seat possible for. Those days it wasn't possible. When the chairman speaks, everybody falls in line.
And
Because that's the party that
the courts will be the last resort. It's not healthy.
And everybody goes to court.
People talk about political victory on the one hand and legal victory on the other. So where will the people be in all of this?
No, the people are not. They don't factor. The people are not factored into all this.
Again, people, I hope you are listening. I hope you are listening. Okay, to our next story. You know, a great scholar once said that the difference between a politician and a statesman is that whereas the politician thinks about the next election, as we are talking about now, and the statesman thinks about the next generation. This appears to be playing out at the moment in the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. After the Governor Mai Mala Buni-led caretaker committee held a nationwide ward congress, governors of the APC met in Abuja and appealed to all party faithful to stand by the initiatives of the body. Now, human rights lawyer Kayode Ajulo insists the ruling party, in the light of the prevailing circumstances, is toying with Jidedis Ogbono soup theory. Your Ogbono soup, the way you just go like that.
What he's trying to say is that this situation amounts to a banana peel.
Exactly.
When you step on banana peel,
go down.
You know that you end up on your backside. It's as simple as that.
Even mango peels.
That one never make me fall before.
Maybe you don't like mango. But go on.
Now that banana go now. I know that I have to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with banana peel, the situation that APC finds itself is a banana peel. No one can say with certainty that, look, when a case gets to court, that this is how it will be decided. The Supreme Court never told the Mai Mala Buni committee to carry on with its work. There is someone in the APC leadership who issued a press statement yesterday, you know, written in a manner that suggested that the Supreme Court has said, oh, you can carry on. And I saw some TV stations, I saw some media outlets were misled. But in a season in which journalists are reluctant to even ask pertinent questions, where journalists have become too lazy to even read to the end, people concluded that Supreme Court said, no, go ahead. There was no time. The Supreme Court did that. The Supreme Court was silent on the issue of whether Mai Mala Buni had immunity.
Was it at issue?
Maybe,
it was not at issue.
The issue was it legal for him to occupy two positions? Now, unfortunately for the PDP, they did not join him in the suit. Yeah. And because they did not join him in the suit,
the court will not give you what you don't ask.
Yes, because they didn't. Oh, the court felt that, look, if they did not join him in the suit, it would be unfair to give judgment against a man that didn't get a chance of fair hearing, because he was never invited to defend himself.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Neither did he send a lawyer to defend himself, because he was not made a party to the suit. Now, on the issue of immunity, because people are saying, even on social media, say, oh, he's a governor, he has immunity. Yeah. The Supreme Court was silent on that. He never made a categorical statement as per whether it was legal for him to hold that position. And the argument of the Supreme Court, even the judge who read the
minority judgment.
The majority
judgment. Okay, yeah.
Was that he should have been joined. Now, people who are trying to spin matters refuse to talk about page 37 of the majority judgment, where Justice Agim said that, look, if we had taken a decision looking at the Constitution, the decision will have hurt this person, but he was not made a party to the suit. It will have been unfair to punish him
for what was not asked in the first place.
Yes. So let me just run through what was in that page 37 of the judgment. The contention, I'm quoting Justice Agim now.
Okay.
The contention that Governor May Malabuni, as governor of Yobe, has violated Section 183 of the Constitution by holding the office of acting national chairman of the second respondent, which is APC, is a very serious one, with grave consequences for him and no doubt for the second respondent, that is APC, as well. The judicial determination of that issue here will involve the enforcement of the Constitution against him and will certainly affect him personally, as I've shown above. It will be unfair to him to try that issue in his absence without joining him as a party to the petition. This is a very straightforward position.
You know, sometimes you are wondering if lawyers are either not doing their jobs well, or somebody somewhere is not listening to lawyers.
Many times these people don't listen to lawyers. They are driven more by their selfish interest. I remember arguing with some APC people that when you were disqualified in Bayelsa, nobody will allow you to field the candidate in the rerun. They said, no, we will be allowed, we will field the candidate. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? They were not allowed. The same thing, even your former governor. When he decided to step out, he said, no, he's not contesting. As I had predicted that he would not contest that APC senatorial in the run. When he now said
odds were against him.
Yes, when the issue of the run came and he said he was not going to contest, people were saying, oh, Akpabio will be, APC will be allowed to replace Akpabio. It cannot happen.
At what time?
You can't replace. Of course, they didn't listen. They said they were saying rubbish. But what did we see? On both occasions, I was right. And Ajulo is likening this to Ogbono because he can see from
Jide, let me switch to Tony. Tony, human rights lawyer Ajulo is likening what's happening with and to the APC as facing a floor full of banana peels. You remember when Julius Caesar was going into the chambers, he turned and saw Sporina, the woman who saw the vision. I said, Sporina, the Ides of March are here. But the woman said to Julius Caesar, they are here but not gone. You get the point I'm making? The Ides are here.
The issue, what Ajulo said, Festus Keyamo said so too. Junior Minister for Labour. Yes. The verdict, I'm not going to look at the validity or otherwise of the stay of the chairman from the court. You see that the issue remains this. There's this wrangling in the party already. The party feels it's time for the convention to hold. They've been shifting it for some time now. Yeah. And so this provided an opportunity for them to come in and say, Mr. Chairman, I think it's time. Because that was not the arrangement. What is stopping the party from carrying out the convention to select new national executive, new national officers of the party? Why this interim arrangement of shifting the goalpost all over and over again? So majority of the party members are right now aggrieved. And so this provided an opportunity for them. And I ask again, the governor of Yobe State was elected to govern Yobe State. I don't see why, I don't even know how he shares his responsibility at the moment, governing the state and governing the party, superintending over the party. I don't know what the achievement, of his government in Yobe. I'm very sure that he's distracted. This whole issue of let the governor, let the chairman give space, boils from the fact that APC may not want to say it, but there is crisis in the party since he came. He may have been doing well. See, listen, but now we're saying, of course, PDP is not different. We said it here, they are not different. The issue, for me, is that it's time for the party to hold their convention.
Yeah.
And it's been taking time.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot be shifting it.
Yeah.
People will be angry. People, because when he came, that was not the impression the party created.
Yeah.
So it's time. This is a simple thing. It's in the party constitution. Let the party meet and elect their national office. It's not run by a state governor.
Oh, yeah.
If
Oh,
at all you want to do that kind of, I mean, why would I don't know why a state governorship? You are an executive governor of a state and a party chairman. Let's speak morally. I mean, it's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely wrong. There's no way you can situate this. It can only fly because it's Nigeria.
Thank you, Tony. Jide, I must go back there. How come in the Fourth Republic, the governors run the show? So where are the party chairmen and secretaries?
Increasingly, the supremacy of the party is being eroded.
Oh, yeah.
Now, parties are run by governors. They are the ones who bring all the money. They are the ones in charge of delegates from the state. They provide the money to run the party.
So they must call the shots.
This is, yes, because they run the party, they bring the funds to run the party, and the funds are public funds. Let nobody deceive you.
Yeah,
they
not their
bring
money.
the funds. Yes, they bring the funds to run the party. For that reason, they wield tremendous influence. You are nostalgic about the Second Republic. During the Second Republic, parties' funds, individuals' funds,
Funded parties.
individuals, what was it called? Dues.
Dues, yeah. You
are
had a
used to
party
run
card.
the party.
You had a party card.
Yes.
And
the party met regularly.
Yes.
At every meeting, you put some money down. At that time, parties sponsored candidates for election.
That's it.
So, because parties sponsor candidates for election, remember even the UPN and the Action Group, they always had some rich men.
Backers.
Yes, who also provided funds.
Yeah.
Add to it the awareness of this word, awareness of this word. Yes,
yeah.
beyond what individuals provided. But we never had a situation in which governors totally took control of the party.
Show, yeah.
This whole thing began towards the tail end of Obasanjo's regime, when he told governors to go and choose among themselves who will succeed him. You know, that's the Fayose-led committee.
That's it.
And from that moment, governors began to see themselves as
potential presidents.
And I would not blame him, because governors, during his first term, towards the end of his first term, governors suddenly began to move towards Atiku, and they told Atiku to contest against his boss.
Yeah, that it was possible.
Yes, that look, you can defeat him. The meeting was held at the liaison building of your former governor, Akwa Ibom house in Abuja.
So now we be the bride now.
If Obasanjo had not begged Atiku repeatedly, and if Atiku had agreed to run against Obasanjo, with the backing of the governors at that time, the Boris of this world and all of them, Obasanjo would have been disgraced in the primaries of the party. So he pleaded with him, and he agreed.
So from then, the governors became...
And the bad blood between Obasanjo and Atiku began from there, because he felt he was not loyal to even contemplate contesting.
It still runs.
That, yes, up to today. Now, if we had a situation in which individuals funded parties sponsored candidates based on donations at party meetings, nobody will be as overbearing as we now have. So governors can tell the president that, look, that decision that you took, we don't want it. I'm not surprised that these governors are saying, no, we want this committee to continue. A number of them are on the committee.
Oh yes,
representing their geopolitical zones and all that. So now, they feel that this is their project. But what people are saying is, look, based on what these judges said, you cannot say that this is not banana peel. The last two legal advisors of the APC, Moise Banire, and the immediate past legal advisor, the man from Ikeja, Babatunde Ogala, they both said the same thing that Keyamo said. Keyamo is also a lawyer. So are we saying that all of those people, they don't know what they are doing, that they read their law books upside down?
No, nobody is saying that. Benga, you are reaching us from Magodo. We greet you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Joe.
I greet you, sir.
You are doing very well.
We want to do better. Go on. Go on.
Yes, you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have two questions quickly.
You don't forget Tony. Tony Wajay is here.
The first question is that I've read the reaction of the AGS, Minister of Justice, Malami, from UPC, of this. And he said that the judgment of the Supreme Court is wrong. That that the leader is holding an immediate position, that an ad hoc position, that is not based, is not personal. I want you to react to Malami's position on that judgment. I think you think that there's nothing wrong. You know, next time you speak of the malicious. You say that it's only two positions, the next position, and it's not actually position. It could be. The second question is that if the vice president of the Chicago is the worker of law, you know how the president is when the president was making this, you know, advise the president to the legal.
Benga, thank you.
The truth is, the Attorney General of the Federation is not a judge.
He's not a judge.
We've seen cases that the Attorney General took to court and he was defeated in this country. I can count many. He's not a judge. He only has an opinion. The people permitted to interpret the law are the judges. Attorney General, is not his duty to interpret the law. He can only advise. So in this case, that was his opinion. And remember, this was the man who compared spare parts selling with cattle rearing.
And raise the temperature in the country.
So he is not always right. And in this case, I'm very sure that it was not right. The law did not say that that position must be ad hoc. If it's to be permitted. It was not. He said you cannot hold it. You cannot hold two executive positions. Their own constitution, Article 17 of the APC constitution, says it clearly that you can't hold those two positions concurrently as an elected officer of the party. So, what the point now is, there was no consequential order in respect of his position by the court. But if anyone sues the APC at this time, it is possible that matter could go all the way to Supreme Court, and the court will now be forced to make a definitive statement on this matter. That is what is lacking for now. That's why we are having all of this back and forth, all of these arguments.
Tony, my fear is the third tier of government, that's the judiciary, was supposed to step in when there was a judicial one expects that the process should run itself. Because politicians are gentlemen and women.
The will of justice in Nigeria is slow, very slow, grinding very slow. They will watch judiciary, watch all this crisis and keep quiet, and then maybe 2 years time they come and all the arrangements come crumbling. I mean, why can't you just step in and sort this thing? I mean, save us all this. I'm telling you, all this analysis is sick.
The president writes to him, to the CJN, asking for the interpretation of a portion of the Constitution. The Supreme Court will go ahead and advise.
But they can intervene in situations like this.
No, that's not. There's a process. There's a process before
Did you hear my logic? Every party in this country has a constitution. And if every party member played by the rules, the judiciary will do it.
Obey their own constitution.
Exactly. That's what you're saying.
Article 17 is clear. Article 17 of the APC constitution is clear. You can't hold that two positions concurrently. They did not even mention interim.
See?
All of this talk about interim is just a way of explaining away.
So that's the issue.
The tragedy of a people like us who have come a long way is that we still have a long way to go. I'm sorry.
Still have a long way to go.
You know, that's a tragedy.
No, it's a fact. See, but I want to ask, but don't you have men of honor in Nigerian political space? I mean, there's a crisis in your party. And they are saying, Mr. Chairman, please, can you, the management, want to, so we can do this. We're approaching an election. So yes. Said, why can't some people just resign honorably? I mean, can't you just and save all this crisis? Because something is brewing and it may happen.
You say resign.
Can you just take that part and stop all this?
In our checkered history, only Shagari's first Inspector General of Police, Adamu Suleiman, resigned. Every other, I never see other people.
Common in our
country. Please, you won't resign. You won't resign.
I will.
Okay, but just we pass over this subject matter. State chairmen of parties and national chairmen of parties should realize they are not watchdogs. I'm done. Okay, our next story, the last story. You know, the dog fight between the federal government and resident doctors appears not to be ready for a conclusion. The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has listed some conditions the government must meet before it calls off the current strike, which is 5 days old. Payment of outstanding doctors' arrears of salaries, hazard allowances, minimum enrollment of doctors in the Integrated Personnel Payment or Payroll Information Systems, IPPIS, amongst others. These are the preconditions announced by the president of the body. Ohwa, he is saying I hope I got that right. I'm sorry. But again, these are the issues in contention.
Yes.
So making them preconditions boggles our mind. But according to the president of NARD, if the strike persists, then Health Minister Osagie and his number 2 man Olorin Mamora should be held accountable. And the notice for the strike is 117 days old this evening. Sometimes you wonder if both sides to a dispute are not guilty if the quarrel goes on for too long, Tony.
Yeah. It's you know, we keep going, you know, making this thing in circle. But
let me help you. Do you remember 1984 when Dr. Emmanuel Nsan was president of the Nigerian Medical Association, was at loggerheads with the current president when he was a military man. So from 1984 through to now.
The same thing. See, we don't. That's why if you go across the globe, you see Nigerian doctors doing well. Here, they are not. We don't need to go through strike to sort this thing. During the pandemic, at the peak of the pandemic last year, about 19 doctors, you know, died through COVID. They sacrificed their lives for us, and when it comes to their well-being, government, we take them round. How can you owe such people 7 months' salaries in arrears, and you go home to sleep, and you sleep well? I mean, I feel
Tony,
if we continue like this,
just
as you said,
the minister is a medical doctor.
So sad.
No less so. No. The minister of health.
Yes.
So what are we saying?
Something is wrong.
Minister of State.
Citizens, the truth about Nigeria, something is wrong with us as a people. And if you don't sit down, you just make reference.
Not with me.
No, because the people constitute the government. See, it may not be you, but that is what is going on. Because this thing has been happening over time. And we cannot keep saying it over and over. ASU is there. They've given their strike notice. But for how long are we going to continue this way?
Oh, yeah.
There's an agreement reached. Why can't you?
And the Labour Minister, I hear, says
such an agreement?
He was not privy to the strike, blah, 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 blah,
but it's totally wrong. And I think until we're ready to get this thing right, people should be called to question most times. Because if you don't call some people who are, you know, at the helm of affairs, supervising these doctors and other agencies, if you don't call them to question, we will continue to have this kind of issues all the time.
Now you see, we are dealing with a 37-year-old cancer. It's been a long time coming. And so when this quarrel goes on for too long, is it not natural or plausible to suggest that both parties in the dispute are wrong? So if there is no strike, can't we do any other thing?
That's what they hear.
Because I hear from the horse's mouth that even the Saudi king used to come to University College Hospital Ibadan for his medical tourism.
Yes, yes. But you know, to that, just after independence, Nigeria was in the same class as Singapore, Malaysia, Brazil. Some of those countries now, they are manufacturing aircraft.
Oh yeah.
Where are we? Our own defense industry corporation was supposed to manufacture military hardware. At a point, they were manufacturing furniture.
DRC in Kaduna?
Yes, that's the depth to which we have sunk.
Hey.
Now, the problem of the health sector, the biggest problem is poor funding. And that poor funding had been there for so long. You can't achieve so much if you are giving just 4% of your budget to health. You won't be able to pay your doctors well. And when you can't pay them well, some of them will leave. A person who just finished youth service, a medical practitioner who just finished youth service, when he goes to the UK, they are going to pay him £2,800.
Okay.
With that, he can pay the salaries of 10 of his professors. 10 of the professors who trained him, he can pay their salaries. These guys have been battling to have this hazard allowance increased. The last time it was increased was 1991. It's 5%. Now, when you talked about 117 days notice, that was the day they suspended the strike. You know, when you suspend the strike, you reserve the right to resume anytime you want. When you call it off, you then need to give them long notice. But since April 10, when they called off the strike, all of the issues that they asked for, you have refused to implement. You agree that you are going to pay 33% of the basic salary as hazard allowance.
Okay, maybe that's why you had the memorandum of action.
Yes, yes.
Which both parties signed.
Anyway, yes, you are supposed to pay 33% of basic salary as the new hazard allowance. You refuse to pay. Up to now, you've not implemented. And they are saying, look, the issues that we are fighting over, they are still there. Just go ahead. Why don't we just start? Okay, we start with hazard allowance. We start paying immediately. 19 medical doctors lost their lives being on the front line of the war against COVID. We have not paid their entitlements to their families. And you expect them to be happy.
Oh boy.
The issues around poor infrastructure and all that in our health sector, where people sometimes use the light from their phones to do surgery. We need to solve that problem. Fund the sector.
You know, even a banana republic would do better.
No, you need to see the current rating of Nigeria what is it called, in terms of healthcare delivery. We are in the class of countries like Chad, Somalia, and the rest. Those are the countries that we are the same.
But you know, all these things by choice.
Because we chose not to do the right thing.
It's by choice.
Fund the sector sufficiently, address lingering problems, address them. Let's now see whether things will not improve. Right now, you can't even get your best doctors to stay in your country. Everyone, once they leave medical college now, the first thing they are thinking of is how to leave Nigeria.
They have to leave.
And we had a labor minister who once claimed that we had enough doctors.
Oh, yes.
I don't know how,
yes.
how he could have made that statement.
No, telling you that there's a doctor's glut here. So
go to the rural areas. How many doctors are there? We don't have enough teachers. We don't have enough doctors in the rural areas. In Lagos alone, you have 300 youth corps members serving as doctors. What if they were not corps members?
And you are saying
they are useful where they are.
You are saying they should not be paid.
And you say we have enough. If not for these youth corps members, how will Lagos even be able to cope? 300 is such a large figure.
Tony, before we go, well, since we are a country that loves anointing oil, prayer, and so on, my take is, apart from praying and having the anointing oil, taking care of the medical institutions in the country is not asking for too much. Lagos University Teaching Hospital, we have about 2 doctors only attending to so many cases there.
See, if you like, you pray from now to Jericho. If you don't work on
the
it,
doctors are saying these are the preconditions, and the preconditions are what they are asking for.
They are not much. What politicians take home every day is not. It's nothing compared to what we're talking about here. It's just about priority. We don't see it as a priority. We don't. And until the day we will sit down and, list our problem just as you're listing them, because we're going to come back on this. We're not ready yet. Until the day we sit down, list this thing, and follow them step by step and tackle it. When somebody leaves school in Nigeria, the next thing you hear is that I want to leave the country. It should bother people. It should bother the people who are pretending over their affairs of this country. They are not bothered.
The one that's more perplexing is your son would have read medicine at the university. The next thing, because there are no jobs, he wants to be a comedian and so on. And so a country where you have a country where there are more comedians than people who are ready to laugh.
It's a shame.
So the country is a joke in itself. Well, it's all right. I hear we must go.
If you don't want to laugh, what are you ready to laugh now?
No, make me laugh in something serious.
If you get too serious for your own good, some other people will laugh.
All right, folks, the father of modern India, Mahatma Gandhi, said, an act of kindness is better than 1,000 heads bowing down in prayer. I think it captures the essence. Well, government, do your bit. Doctors, I beg, do your bit also. We're out of here. Jide, thank you for another rewarding Friday.
I
Tony,
pray the call of the strike people.
Yes.
Because we have a colleague who broke his pelvic bone and he's been at Igbobi in severe pains.
Oh dear.
Just terrible.
Okay, that's it on the program this evening.